This is nice. This is a beautiful plane and it's flying really well. Let's do a little bit more scale approaches over the runway and stay in the air easier this way. Look at that, that's nice. And here we go. Let's see if we can get this a little closer. Wow, look at that wind. Wow, 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 wow. I'll take it, I'll take that. That was not bad. Not a bad maiden in solid 10-mile-an-hour winds, 12, 15. Feels like it's been a while since I've been in front of the camera to do a maiden flight for you guys, especially one without safe technology. And I'm very excited because this looks like a good airplane. You know, I probably say that a lot in my videos. I'm excited and here's why. This comes in at a good price and it's one of the best looking planes I've ever had my hands on for under $200. I really like the scale look, and for this being a Cessna 182 at like 182 bucks, I think, was that an ironic thing that they did there? I think that's a steal. It really does look great. Wait till you see the lights when I power this on. It had a couple issues when I put it together, but they were pretty small. One being that this decal wasn't cut. I should have got a sharper blade and cut that myself. It looks so bad, but this one came cut. Just small things. As a convenience for myself, I had Abby take a butter knife and help me pop that back window out so that I could get to the receiver a little easier. The wing does come on and off. It just doesn't come on and off very easily because of the wing struts. One of my wing strut bases here, I think this one, was a little loose when it came, so I reinforced it with hot glue right there. Just a couple small things, but ultimately really a nice build. You know what the biggest annoyance was? The clevises back here. The clevis for my rudder and the clevis for the elevator were both too short, and also they didn't clip together. They broke. They were brittle plastic for some reason. The clevises up here were fine, but luckily I had a couple extras from an old junk Hobby King plane that I had sitting around, so put those on here and we're gonna fly it. I'm really very hopeful for this airplane. It flies on a 3S battery. I'm gonna do a maiden flight today. I've never had this in the air. It's probably gonna need trimmed up like crazy. It is way too windy to be doing a maiden for most people, but I have a lot of experience, so hopefully that keeps me in the air. But this might be a fun video to watch because it could end pretty dramatically. So, brand new Cessna 182 at a great price. If you like it, we'll have it linked in the description box below, and I can guarantee that if this maiden goes well in this wind, this will probably be sold out by the end of the video. So if you're lucky enough, I mean, if I were you, I'd just go ahead and pull one up and put it in the cart because that's a really good price for this airplane. Let's fly. We're dealing with at least like
10.
Solid 10, that's what I was gonna say. Gusting 15, 20.
That's what the Weather Channel said before we came up.
Yeah, you know, and I don't think a beginner should deal with this kind of wind, so never maiden in this much wind unless you just fly every day. The front wheel on this airplane is a little tight. I have a feeling that with use it'll loosen up. I'm kind of hoping that this ends up being one of my everyday flyers. Just, it's really pretty. It's really scale. I like it a lot, so fingers crossed, everybody. Oh yeah, nice. That's up fast. That went up really quick. Okay, really happy with this. Yeah, let's go ahead and start banking and see if she'll fly in the wind. Oh, did I show everybody the lights? It's so bright.
It is really bright.
I'll show you when we land, assuming it's in one piece still. Now I did that takeoff with no flaps. I probably should have turned my flaps on, and I'm just trying to get a feel for it. I think we need a little bit of down trim. There we go. That's all it needs. I'm hands-free right there. Wow. A little gust of wind is knocking me some, but for an airplane with no stabilization, this is really nice. Now I have one major concern, and that's my battery hatch. There's no Velcro in there. The battery is sitting loose. It's on the bottom of the airplane, and if the battery shifts back at all, it could come up.
I just want to say, I walked down to the car holding Velcro, and you said, I don't need any of that stuff. Oh, but Velcro was in my hand.
I didn't know that. So it came with Velcro.
Yes.
Overlooked that. So my maiden flight might be a little bit boring because I don't want to do any loops or rolls because I don't want that battery to come flying out of the bottom hatch. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get this airplane down. But I do plan on doing a follow-up with this, and in the follow-up maybe I will do some stunts and higher G-force maneuvers and stuff. So we'll hopefully get that battery strapped in a little bit better. Or maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. Oh, this is nice. This is a beautiful
really
plane and it's
good.
flying really well. Let's do a little bit more scale approaches over the runway. So when I fly, you know, you guys might not know this, maybe you do. When I fly with the wind, which is the direction it's flying now, you actually have to throttle up a little bit more than when you fly nose into the wind, because if you don't have any lift. So I can throttle down and have more lift flying nose into the wind and stay in the air easier this way. Look at that, that's nice. And if I'm flying this way with the direction of the wind, you see that? I lost my lift, so I really have to throttle up there quite a bit. I was trying to climb with throttle. Wow, that was a close call. That was a lot of wind playing with me there. Let's try a flap on pass. Now, one thing you got to be careful of the first time you do flaps with a plane like this, no stabilization, is your flaps might one go down a bit lower than the other. And if it does that, it could create one wing to roll. You could roll the airplane just from the flaps alone. You know, visually it looked fine before I took off, but you just never know. So you don't want to fly low and know that, you know, the flaps are not going to be guaranteed to work perfectly just because they're on the airplane. You've got to make sure that they both come down level. So there's one stage of flaps, there's two. That is a ton of lift. And it's not rolling the airplane, so that's really good. I should be able to rely on those flaps. But today, I just went flaps up, and I'm gonna go back with the wind here. Today, I don't think I'm gonna land with the flaps because we're dealing with so much wind. Actually, Abby and I are both
We're trying to block the wind.
Yeah, we're shifting around the camera, trying to block it. We have our dead cat on the mic. So, you know, you guys can probably hear some wind. It's very windy, and it's actually very cold too.
It's freezing.
We're braving the elements.
It's freezing wind. It says it's only 50, but this wind feels like 30.
And having said all this, with all these crazy flight conditions and stuff, I want to encourage you guys to fly as safely as possible. Yes, I'm out here flying like this, but I don't encourage that you do that unless you have a lot of experience. Whether you're experienced or a completely new pilot, you really should fly with AMA. And just giving a shout out to AMA today. Fly safe, use common sense, but also fly insured. You can do that for about the price of a battery or two to be insured for the entire year. And to me, that's a no-brainer. I'd rather have 3 batteries instead of 5 and know that I'm safely insured if my airplane would ever smack into someone's car or something. You know, as long as you're not doing anything reckless while flying, intentional, it's an accident, then you're going to be covered. So get your AMA, and I would like to ask them if we can do some kind of a discount code or something for Christmas time. So you guys remind me as we get a little bit closer, but we'll have AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics, linked in the description box below where you can sign up, and you absolutely should. So far, Abby, I'm really liking this airplane. You know, I'm dying to do a roll or a loop, but I know that if I do, the battery's just going to come flying out. I want to show you guys what I'm talking about when I get this thing down. Let's do a little bit more.
Woo, that wind.
So the wind is nuts. It is knocking me around like crazy, but the airplane's handling it, no problem. And so knowing that it can fly in this much wind makes me think this thing would be really fun to fly on a calm day. It's one of those finds, guys, that I was just excited to share with you. It was either going to be a complete dud or awesome, and I had a feeling when I was putting it together, it was built really well. The foam is extremely dense. I think it's going to be rugged, and you know, I would say this, the instructions weren't like ridiculously beginner friendly, like an E-flite plane or something. You know, the E-flite planes, they kind of hold your hand through the process. They make sure you know every little square inch, every little detail when you're slapping it together. This one, it could be your first airplane, but they're a little bit vague on the instructions. But it's overall, there's some pictures that do a pretty good job with it. I had to get creative on a couple things, like I said in the beginning of the video, with just cutting the tape and stuff. You might not catch that if it was your very first plane putting it together. Maybe you would. So, you know, not perfect. Quality control wasn't like amazing, but everything's there to get the plane in the air. Also, here was a big one. The prop needed to be drilled out a little bit. It was too tight of a diameter for the housing that they had on the spinner. you couldn't get it snug down without having it to loosely slide up the prop shaft, and so we had to drill that out manually. And I don't have a drill press, so I just took my hand drill, my power drill, and shaved it out to loosen it up a little bit.
Okay,
so
here's a challenge for you.
Okay.
Do some touch and goes.
Well, okay.
Are you scared for your battery?
Battery's getting really low. I could hear it actually.
Okay,
so
yeah,
I need to
you're
land,
like
right now.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, we're coming
next
in.
time then.
Yeah. So the follow-up flight, I should have put a LiPo alarm in. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this a little closer. Wow, look at that wind. Wow, 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 wow. I'll take it. I'll take that. That was not bad. Not a bad maiden in solid 10-mile-an-hour winds, 12, 15. So I'll show you guys a couple things. Look how tight I can steer this with that front wheel. That's really tight.
Wow. You see the lights right there too. I see the green light.
Oh yeah. So let's look at the lights before I unplug the battery.
The red light.
There is a light on the front wing there. We also have nav lights on the wing tips. You see the green?
Yes, on the red.
Over here we have red, and on the tail, see the tip of the tail?
Oh yeah.
We've got a nice bright white light there as well, and all of those were pre-installed, pre-run on this airplane, so you just have to plug everything into an extra channel on your receiver. Look, the wind is so strong, it's still rotating that prop. I mean, it is really gusty. It's crazy. So this plane didn't come without its problems, and that's really the only negative thing I can say about it. The way it flew, and especially the way it flew in this wind, was exceptional. For a maiden flight, that much wind, I can't get over how good it did. So, huge win, and well worth every penny in my opinion. Just know that if you buy this, it is likely to come with a few small problems. Something that I overlooked, the prop was a little bit of a nuisance. The front windshield here was actually completely off of the airplane when I got it. Just a poor glue job or something. It was loose in the box. I just re-glued it on with hot glue. Everything I do is hot glue. Everything on my planes is hot glue. I would not recommend doing the cheap stuff at the store, but I had somebody recommend the best brand of hot glue to me, and I will link that in the description box below, okay? I use a cheaper version of it, but I'm gonna start using the brand that I'm linking.
You got yours at Hobby Lobby.
I did, yeah, and I just can't find any more of it. I'm like out, so I gotta try something else. And this is a bigger brand, a bigger, better known name brand, so boom, hot glue's linked below. That's just, you gotta take this with a grain of salt. That's what I do. Every single RC person out there in the world is going to tell you to use foam safe CA glue. I hate that stuff. It's messy. It dries too fast. I don't think it holds as well as hot glue. I like hot glue. But I'm telling you this right now. If you buy a $500 jet and you put it together with hot glue, you can't blame me, okay? Because it might have been the brand of glue you used. I'm just telling you, I put my Blue Angels jet, the $500 one, together with hot glue. Actually, that one didn't need any glue. I think that was all screws and stuff, I'm pretty sure.
But if it needed glue, you would.
It would have been hot glue. I do hot glue with everything on mine, so do it. But I've done it for 8 years and I've never had any issues. None of my glues ever failed in flight or anything. So yeah, here's the real thing.
The battery.
Here's why I didn't fly anything more than just that boring flight today, which rightfully, I mean, it's so windy. So this just pops out so easily. If the weight of the battery touched that, it would fall out. And I did not have any Velcro or anything in here. I'm just using some cheap old batteries, and I don't even really recommend these anymore. I've heard a lot of bad things about this brand lately, but the point is, that battery's just in there loose. I need to Velcro that in there before I do any loops or rolls or anything of any kind. So it's just sitting in there. That's not good. Don't do that if you buy this. Get your battery in there. I just needed to take advantage of this. You can see the sun is going down.
You are such a do what I say, don't do what I do.
Please, yes. Jiminy Christmas. That's yes. Learn from my mistakes and don't do what I do. It's weird though because this one's held in with a magnet.
Do you think the magnet came off of the back one or the front one?
It's fine. No, it's got a little clip and it kind of works. Actually, that little ribbon that helps you pull it open is in there, but it's okay because it comes open. So
well, just let the battery hit it.
Yeah.
Shake it.
We'll get it out of there. It's like, you know, it's kind of like this window back here. I had my receiver in and I needed to plug in a couple other things. I can't remember what exactly I was doing, but the wing I already had on, and I had the wing struts on, and they're good. They're gonna hold on there great, but I don't want to take those off. There's 2 screws and two nuts and
Easy.
yes.
I'm sorry.
So the easiest thing for me to do was to ask Abby to help me cut this back window out with a butter knife. I said it at the beginning of this video. Abby busted it out and I was able to work with the receiver. It was the easiest way to get to the receiver. Sometimes I feel like the people that build these planes don't actually ever plug them in and go fly them, because if they did, they would have made sure the servo extension wire, there would have been an extension wire, or just the servo wire would have been longer, so you could work on it up here where you're supposed to. But these are all small complaints just to set a realistic tone for you guys for an awesome RC plane. I will have this on the channel again. I'm going to secure my battery setup in here, and we're going to fly it a bit more acrobatic. But I would not be surprised if by the time we do the follow-up video, this plane could be sold out. It's not made out of chintzy material. It is very strong and very sturdy. It feels really well made, and it is. I'm really happy with everything overall, especially under that price point of $200. So if you're interested, it's linked in the description box below. It's a huge win, in my opinion, and just looks really good too. Even though it's getting cold, my hands are hurting, and there's not even snow on the ground yet or anything. We got to get out and fly, share the experience with you guys, and for all the good in my life, I thank God. I also want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon supporters. I know 2020 has been a crazy year, and without you guys, we could not have the channel that we have. You keep the content flowing, and we're forever grateful, because if this was just a junk RC plane, which it's not, we can get in front of the camera and say that because of our Patreon supporters. You guys allow us to keep the content rolling on the channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll have another awesome RC plane video popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye.